What is up, everybody? Welcome to MuseMe TV. We are back. Episode 76. In the studio today, we have Matthew.
Oi.
What is up, man? Appearance number 3.
Not much, to be honest. I was just kind of bored. So, I decided to show up.
Thank you. I'm glad you came, hang out. Obviously my other guests bailed, but thank you for filling in the spot, bro.
Nah problem.
I appreciate it. That's enough of that music. That's such a sudden stop. It's so bad.
Full stop.
Yep. Anyways, I just gotta switch the screen right away if you remember correctly. Damn. There you go. So now everybody can see what we see, like if it was not a mirror image.
I feel confused. I'm kidding.
Anyways, what is up, Matthew? How was it? So you saw a little bit of my comedy. You saw me do one joke.
Yeah, I walked in right at the end.
How did you like that joke?
What was the joke?
I hate you so much.
Wait. It was...
It's okay.
No, I'm not going to get it.
You got this. Come on. I'll give you one more chance. You got this.
It was something about being in ROTC.
Oh, you got the punchline right away.
I got the punchline.
Yeah.
And how you spent 4 years in it, but it really wasn't.
Yeah. So the joke is I've actually spent 4 years in the military. 4 years of military service. Give it up for JROTC. That was the shit. Which is a good joke. And it's actually true. In high school, when I was in Los Lunas, I was in ROTC.
I'm sorry.
It turned me into the man you see today, Matthew. Why does that disappoint you?
I don't know how to respond.
Come on, guys. Don't fuck. Whatever. Sorry. The studio audience, you know how that goes. Yes, we have a live studio audience.
I was thinking it was the plush, but I'm guessing it's the posters.
Yeah, the whole posters, and plus we're in a studio, not in a closet. So we got to let everybody know that as well. Anyways, what's up, Matthew?
Not much. I was just...
Yeah, like I said, you were bored. You just got out of work. You came to see my comedy. How'd you like all the other comics? Those are some local comedians of the area. Anybody stand out at all?
I don't know their names.
It's okay. The female, maybe. The native.
Female. Is this how you identify people on Help?
No, but obviously you didn't know any names. She was the only female comic that was doing it at the time.
I don't remember many of the jokes.
It's okay. We're all still.
I paid special attention because I know you.
I appreciate that. I shouldn't be eating on here. Fuck. Sorry.
I brought him cookies.
Sorry. But yeah, you're right. It was fun though. They have that every Saturday. If I go and show up, he'll just be like, "Oh, on Hill, do you want a spot?" And he'll just throw me on there randomly.
That's nice of him.
But I did like 5 minutes. I got some good jokes. I get some laughs.
Well, at least his job won't be automated anyway in 10 years.
Right. It seems like he was relying on tips. It was okay.
I'm sorry.
Anyways, we just saw a video about the future. Matthew, tell me, I don't know why people are so scared of the future. Why are people so scared of the future? They say that robots are going to take over.
I mean...
But I feel robots aren't going to take over. Do I have a robot sound? I don't have a robot sound.
You need a robot sound. I would say it's more... We try predicting possibilities, but usually what we predict can't come true in some form or manner. We tend to kind of play with it in a way. If we can predict it, it's not going to happen. That's usually just how it goes. So just a question: if we don't predict it, then, or if we do predict it and it doesn't happen, does a variation or something totally different come out? It depends.
Or both.
It could be both. It could be nothing. So, for example, like I like to make as an example what fear porn is. It's like when you get all those big like conspiracy theorists trying to scare you into believing something. That's fear porn because they think, oh, the Antichrist is coming, or oh, the Third World War has been planned. But in actuality, nothing's as setly defined as that, nor is it...
That's the actual term, though? Fear porn?
I picked that up somewhere, so maybe.
Okay, I like that. That's good.
Yeah, I picked that up somewhere.
Coined here on MuseMe TV.
I don't know about that one, but yeah, so basically saying is that anyone who tells you they know the future or they can predict the future is generally wrong every time. Look, we have had people who have sold snake oil on it for, I don't know, hundreds of years. Look, you can go back to some of the most famous Nostradamus.
The Simpsons.
The Simpsons. I think that's coincidence.
Yeah, I think so too. Like
Coincidence is kind of funny like that.
Yeah, and they have a lot of intelligent writers that can think of ideas that happen, I think.
Yeah, I don't think it's full-on convergence to it. It's likely just... How would you say this? Since it's open to interpretation, I guess we can interpret it any way. It's famous in that way, too, that it's predictive. But when you've done so much, you literally have another sitcom saying The Simpsons did it. You're going to end up in a different place.
Yeah.
I mean, there's going to be coincidence. There are things we can somewhat viably predict. There's things that we somewhat cannot predict. We're more likely to predict a day ahead than a year ahead. We're more likely... So if you're making prediction after prediction, something's got to be right.
Out of it.
But and it's not going to be completely right. Yeah.
Yeah, out of all the probabilities of trying, right?
Yeah, I think people are big on this is... I know people want to think he's a time traveler. People want to think... I think it's very similar things happen, or there's a pattern of things that happen.
Okay.
I mean, for example, it's like the dot thing with The Simpsons. Like, oh yeah, people might pay attention to a dot. But what's to say what that dot is, and say, relative it to how Fortnite is putting a black hole on the screen. That can be a stretch, because that's still not exactly a dot.
Yeah.
Or having a 9 in the Twin Towers next to... I mean, that could just be an artistic rendering. That could just be a coincidence. Or Trump coming down the escalator. Trump's done that how many times?
So, yeah.
So, for a lot of announcements.
Yeah, not just that one specific one. I get what you're saying.
We would also have to put... Trump has also said how many times he's going to run for president since the 80s.
That's true, and that's in the 80s. That's not even counting the 80 or other times. Because the first time I ever heard Trump actually say he was going to run for president was actually on the Comedy Central roast of himself. And that was like in 2012 or 2013. It was the roast of Donald Trump, and he pretty much, at the end of the whole thing, he's like, I'm going to run for president one day. So
I don't think Trump had the drive to run for president originally. I think what happened is in 2012 or 2013, he got invited to the White House Correspondents' Dinner. This is after he made the whole birther issue. I think Obama went a little bit too far, as he went and he started attacking Trump in the Correspondents' Dinner, and that drove Trump to run.
Like little like jabs at him?
Well, have you ever seen it? It's I don't think you can find it in a compilation, unfortunately.
No, but it was kind of like that, right? They were meeting.
They were jabbing at each other. They had never met until they didn't meet until a couple of weeks before he took the presidency.
Okay. Obama
and Trump.
Yeah.
So there's a few people who have said this, is that Barack Obama started something he couldn't finish. Donald Trump was more in tune with what the country wanted, but was he more in tune in favoring it, or is he more in tune in self-interest? It looks like it was more self-interest. Then you get something, yeah, Trump can't finish it, or Obama can't finish it because Obama's not in tune with the country.
Oh, shit.
So you're getting into the actual, or none of the politicians are running. That's why they say the Democrats anointed Hillary Clinton to run. She's the anointed one.
No.
When you look into it, it's maybe someone who isn't a demagogue. And a demagogue is someone who's a populist who promises things. If you look, you can compare someone like Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump side by side, and you will find that they actually promise a lot of the same things. He wants healthcare for everyone. He wants college for everyone. He wants to expand Social Security. But when push came to shove, he had no movement to do it. Even though when he got into office, he could have, but his self-interest overrided it. Okay. So when you look at someone like Bernie Sanders, who's built an organization around it, yeah, he's not going to have Congress, but he's going to have a march. Basically how politicians have done everything in this country since the beginning of the revolution. An active protest. It's basically using your democracy to keep the republic in check.
And that's just constantly making sure that you have a following or a certain amount of people that believe in the same of what you believe in, right?
Pretty much, and getting the people to you're tuning into the anger to fix the problems, because anger is probably your strongest motivator. Are you going to fix all the problems? Likely not, but you're going to put us in a better position to fix all the problems.
But then, like you said, if they both have like the same ideas, why did one end up getting one more momentum than the other?
Self-interest.
Just self-interest.
Well, so what you look at statistics with Trump, the main key voters are going to be two-time Obama voters and Trump voters. That's what swung the country. As much as the liberal elite are going to tell you that it's they're going to tell you this a lot. It's the Bernie Sanders voters that switched to Donald Trump from Hillary Clinton. That's actually not true. And actually, that might not have been the case if Hillary Clinton made different moves and changed her agenda. But it's going to be the people that he excited. He switched those voters over because Obama kind of screwed them. Or, I guess as Andrew Yang says, Obama broke my heart. Because what Obama did, Obama's the first one in years to run on what Bernie Sanders is in a way running on it. He wanted healthcare. He wanted college for all, but it kept getting dwindled down as he kept going. He went left and then pivoted back to the center, and that's what people don't like about politicians, because that's where the first lies come from. The last person you see doing that is Jimmy Carter, where he's sitting there preaching for these programs. Trump's preaching for them, but Trump's fake, basically. He's saying that they're okay to have these programs and say them, but you don't have to do them, because that's how he's acting, because he's created a cult of personality around him. He's a demagogue in all forms. And a demagogue is basically, like I said, the fake populace. So they're going to be with him no matter what, because he's a populace. And you even see the Fox News anchors now trying to do it. Like Tucker Carlson the other day is like, we can't beat these social policies. And he understands that.
What?
But that's because he's smart. Well, he's smarter than me. So he's trying to say, instead of keep America great again, keep America great is what Trump's current slogan is. It should still be Make America Great, because people still don't feel great. People are still underemployed. They also believe the unemployment number's still wrong. So to fix that, it's going to actually be someone who calls to action. Trump's not calling to action. Trump has action. He's ruled most of the executive order. But the American institutions might be stronger than what was inevitably thought. People used to think that Obama was just going to use the institutions to take over the country.
Yeah.
That was very not true at all. He handed over to Trump. Trump has tried to use the institutions, but things keep backfiring on him. So what basically is the checks and balances are holding out and pushing back and forth, which means we're probably going to get more checks and balances after this, because trying to stop it from getting to this state
just adds more to it.
Just adds and keeps building. Like term limits might be something to go. I think those are somewhat unconstitutional, but I'm not a legal expert, but that's just how I feel.
Yeah, we're not totally college grad majors here in any specific field, but we know quite a bit of research, and this is why I have Matt on, because I actually like talking to him, getting some good knowledge on. What is up, everybody? We got 2 viewers on right now. Thank you for watching. Just hanging out with more. Dude, we were talking about technology as well, and we went straight into this.
Okay, so let me say one thing I disagree heavily with Bernie Sanders.
What is
his
it?
technology platform.
Okay.
Though he has plans to build certain technologies into his platform, I think Andrew Yang is more on technology. So
more
if we weave
towards
that,
the future.
yes, I think Yang is better on technology. I don't agree that the UBI would do better for the economy than, say, raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour. And I think in the debate he got hit hard by Cory Booker on that. But yeah, I think he's ahead on technology. I think, yes, UBI is going to exist. And I do think raising the minimum wage will speed up automation. But I do believe that's where we should be going. We should be building our careers around creative ventures like this, or about artistic ventures, or even specialism. Eventually we'll get there. It's just we haven't yet so far. Our economy has basically worn for a long time. So a big concept is, and this is why a lot of people will still side, and something we learned in school, people believe that war fuels innovation. I don't know if that's completely true. War does fuel innovation, that is true, but completely, why isn't it stopped now, even in our time? Yes, we're more peaceful. It's not coming to the cusp of reality. We're still speeding up and speeding up. Why is that? Maybe because we've been lied to what war fuels. War fuels an economy.
Okay.
So looking at it that way, if you do that, eventually the more specialism that comes in, the more little problems will solve. So you'll have a lot of little gradual things slowly build up in the background, but it makes your quality of life go better. Look at the smart homes now, and pretty much everything's becoming smart.
I know, and
it's great.
I love that shit.
I have a Google Home in my room,
and that just works so awesomely. Like, I don't, at this point, even if like even the conspiracy nuts or whoever say that somebody's listening to us, it doesn't matter. Like, there's
we're a number.
There's nothing interesting.
We're a number.
Out of millions of people, there's nothing interesting out of one of us.
I would say it's not one of us that's the thing. It's all of us is the prize.
So you think after a certain amount, they find these things to like... See, that's what I'm saying.
Well, okay, so you're getting into the side... let me just
of techno-paranoia where...
So are you believing in either a surveillance state or are you believing in a collection state?
I think it's more of a surveillance state.
So surveillance states are very hard to pull off. The Chinese Communist Party is trying to do it, and they're having a little bit of trouble. I don't know if it'll happen the way we think it'll happen.
But especially the way we were talking about the way innovation and technology is rapidly increasing. How is that not something that can happen with like facial recognition, voice recognition, all these little key details that can just pinpoint?
And how are they going to tell the difference from a fake?
They don't. Oh, I don't know yet.
Exactly. See, it's more to be on the side that we need to hope. And I don't know if it's hope because people are already aware of it. Usually if we can foresee a problem, we can prevent it. It's the problems we don't see. So you're looking at plague problems.
Yeah.
China doesn't have enough hospitals for this current coronavirus. So they're trying to build 2 in 6 days.
2 hospitals.
Yeah, have you heard about that?
No, I didn't.
So the coronavirus outbroke in China. There's, I believe, 46 dead now and 156 diagnosed, but...
That's what I love and hate about the internet, because I've seen so many memes about it already.
Well, and that's probably a good thing and a bad thing, 'cause it's spreading awareness, but it's also probably... Well, okay.
The coronavirus.
It scares people. Okay, Modelo. It scares people, I think. And I think that's also kind of fear porn, too, because if you look at the 3 developed nations it's hit the United States, France, and Australia. All of them have contained it. China has gone into a personal failing at containing it. So it's really a wonder no one predicted it would outbreak in China. No one predicted, and that's the problem. And the outbreak, I mean, maybe some plague players, but the outbreak kind of is just like they weren't ready for it.
And so they're trying to like accommodate to it as fast
quick
as they can.
And that's probably good because they're putting the necessary infrastructure. But look at how fast we're coming up with a cure. That's the thing. We already are getting vaccinations for it very quickly. Faster than probably any other times in human history. They expected, I was hearing at first, it'll be ready in 8 months. Now they're saying as little by March. Who knows? They might have it by tomorrow. It's rapid speed. And it's different numbers.
And that's just because, and that's another thing bringing up to what we just saw. It's like they're predicting time, but it could go sooner
or later.
Yeah. It's just not what they say.
Or it could also be incremental change that still helps. Later probably is more unnoticed. Sooner, though, someone's getting a Nobel Peace Prize kind of thing.
Yeah. And you can kind of see that happening for everyone's really like wanting to get it done. I can't think of the word, like incentive. Everybody has the incentive to do it for like the glory and the like... You know, being the first person to do it, even if it's like already in the cusp of somebody already coming up with it, but yet if somebody can come from the backbone and come up with it too, it just gives that much more satisfaction. So there's that drive to get it done faster as well. I
think part of it. I think there's more to it, though. Some people aren't doing it for glory. Some people are doing it to get it fixed.
Yeah.
The longer we exist, the more things we repair. So, for example... Say we get technology that goes on the moon. Say we have to efficiently use water on the moon. We'd have to be super efficient to do that, to keep recycling water over and over. So on Earth, why don't we bring that technology here kind of thing? So every little hole we just fill and tighten. So that's really how that works, honestly. And it's if there's a problem, we try to fix it. That's why some technology, even though it exists, we have tons of catalog technology that exists.
Yeah. We
have no use for because we found something more efficient and we might be able to pull it back when something else comes out that we have a problem with.
And there's even stuff that they say we don't even have pretty much any access to because it's still like only for government issued stuff.
Oh yeah, definitely. The dog.
Yes.
the government also goes into that war thing. I don't know. Eventually, we live in the most peaceful time in human history, as far as we know, maybe other than the onset. I mean, maybe also per...
Oh, she wants to go outside.
Do you want to take her?
Yeah, give me a second.
No problem.
He's talking about war, people. War!
War.
There's like one viewer. Say hi.
Hi, one viewer.
That was it. All constant quiet and no. Thank you for tuning in, sir.
Sorry.
We really appreciate it. It's
I got on my phone.
we're getting very political in this sense, and we're talking about technology in this rapid how things are improving faster than we can expect.
Well, the thing is it faster than we could comprehend, though? See, in 2020, I believe I heard that we taught a whole drone how to inspect a farm. It used to take a team of humans a day to do it. It used to take a team of drones like 8 or so hours, so about a day. And now it takes one drone 30 or 40 minutes. That's something that's at the cusp. I mean, what can we do? We can comprehend. We can keep making plans. If we can theoretically usually prove it, or if we can usually theoretically prove that it's possible, we can usually realistically do it. But we'll still have consequences we can't predict.
So then will it be kind of like us outgrowing the toy, or the toy is too big for us? Like we got a toy that's too advanced after a certain point.
I don't know if that's going to be the case, or if we're going to start artificially making ourselves farther and better. So, for example,
King,
medicine.
What's up? Thank you for commenting. What's up, King? He just said greeting warriors.
Oi.
Anyways, go ahead.
So, say medicine, for example. Yeah, we can make bioweapons with medicine. Yes, we can do other things with medicine. But in the long run, what did it do? It helped us improve us. It helped us with living longer, and we were able to use more technology. We were able to see multiple generations of tech, even in a year sometimes, build up. And that's really how it works. For example, are we really going to get rid of AI, or are we going to put it towards us? There's a lot of technology starting to be worn biometrically on us. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, dude.
You have an Apple Watch?
No, it's actually the Versa Fitbit 2.
But yeah, your glasses will probably get some.
Yeah. But I get what you're saying. This tracks everything. It tracks my heart rate, my sleep.
That does too. Your phone.
Yeah. See, and it's just that shouldn't be something to be scared of, though, right? Because it helps us improve our lives.
Well, I think it's a yes and no situation. I think the thing is there's always bad guys, but there's always good guys at the same time. And that's always been a ploy on it. Look, we could go back to the case of medicine. We have someone who poisoned Tylenol in the 70s and 80s. But then we have someone who found a way to stop that.
Okay.
So it's going to always be a cop versus robber game. And it depends. Sometimes we're able to take out more robbers than we are cops. For example, when the economies are good of the world and how things are working, the cops are winning. And sometimes the cops are the bad guys, but it's just a good versus evil kind of thing. As long as there's one human who's versed in it, there's another. Or versed enough or knows something else.
That's true. King just said, we may become too dependent on technology, though.
Are we, though? Books are a technology. Are we too dependent on that?
Well, I know that. Is it, though? I mean...
Yeah, books is a technology. It's in early form, but it's our first form of a written record in a database.
I hate you so much. That's one of those mind-blowing statements where oh my God, it makes sense.
But also...
Because, okay, for the longest time, it was always written not written, spoken. For spoken history or spoken, laws, meanings, whatever, for the longest time. So... in between all the time before it was written, do you think there's probably some stuff that's been lost?
Oh, we lose shit day by day.
All the time.
I would believe that, but we're also very good at cataloging things, too. So there's things that go lost for years and years and years, and they show up again.
Okay. Because we've archived
USBs.
them?
Well, yeah, or someone's running on a piece of paper and it got found in a house or something. USBs, I believe, are like that. Our first things with the universal serial buses... I believe, I might be wrong. It might not be USBs. I might be wrong, but I believe we invented them sooner, and we didn't put them to use right away, but then they were refound and put to use.
Okay.
So also with that example, you can also say a stick is a technology. Turning it into a spear is a technology. Any tool we use. So the question is are we too dependent on technology, or is technology dependent on us? So when we say technology is dependent on us, we're choosing technology. You live in a non-scarcity world, kind of, in a way.
Yeah.
So you're not dependent on technology, but do you still know how to grow food, the concept of it?
Yeah.
And you learned it.
Yeah.
And kids still know that concept.
Yeah.
See, with Gen Z, the first things they were saying is kids would not understand how to grow food because they'll never see a cow. They'll never see a farm, or because it's all different now. But that's not true. The same thing, the same rules still apply. They just learn it a different way and a more efficient way. So say we wipe out, like really bad, we come close to extinction, there's still going to be people with those set skills, and they're going to know the more efficient way of doing it. They're going to be able to recover. Our brains are databases in a way. It's a tool for the cells.
So there'll be some it's kind of like something that's ingrained in us.
Yeah, we like to learn.
Yeah.
We really like to learn. There's some knowledge to everything, and there's some truth to everything.
King said, wow, you know damn well I meant electric-based tech. And then he said, all it takes is a well-placed EMP to destroy the grid. Back to the Stone Age.
You can say electric, but the thing is, it's still the same thing. We still will figure out how to slaughter a cow over. We'll still figure it out again.
We'll develop the tools.
We'll rebuild it. That's the thing. No matter what, we're going to rebuild it. If there's at least a few of us left, and we have come close to extinction again, we didn't lose all the technology we still had.
Well, I don't know if you're a firm believer, but there's a geologist by the name of Randall Carlson who speaks about actually there are multiple times that we have been in a mass extinction. Do you believe that?
No.
Why is that?
Well, where's your evidence on that?
There does show evidence. They show different like glacier structures and stuff that have been moved. Certain rock formations that were actually found in one location and then in a different part of the world.
And there's a footprint that dates back 250,000 years before humans were there, or when the Cretaceous is, but it's not actually that. They're just misinformations. It's just like the people who are like, there's Bosnian pyramids when they're just natural rock formations.
Yeah.
See, I think if we ever reach this level of civilization, there would still be evidence. I mean, and also, where we are in the universe was pretty hostile until about 4 billion years ago, and we can actually catalog life through that.
Okay.
So, for example, we can see the single cell going. That's the whole point with evolution and what we're learning and how we put it together.
Why do you got to make me cry, dude?
Well,
I'm just kidding. I get what you're saying, though. I mean, I still am skeptical about the whole thing. I mean,
it's good to be skeptical.
And who knows? I still firmly believe in aliens. I mean, we've been over the Fermi paradox before. But
aliens are great. It's possible. I think with the Fermi paradox, though, there was actually a recent solution that kind of makes sense. So, which means it's not actually a paradox. They believe the part of the universe we're in is a dead zone. Okay. Meaning that's why we're able to develop independently. We might be extremophiles in the universe. So, because they can't pick up signals anywhere, we can't completely grow out. I'm not the best at explaining this because it's a lot of astrological stuff, but it's basically we are not able to expand that. So as we start expanding, we're going to be harder to kill.
Okay.
So we might actually be some form of an extremophile if it is actually true. That's a more recent solution that had come out, I think, in 2019, 2018. So that's been built in. So just relative on that, I guess.
Just some more facts on aliens out there. King says, "Oh, true warriors will survive. Unfortunately, peasants and betas will not survive. Many will die. Not a lot."
How are you able to predict that?
Like a lot.
No, seriously, how are you able to predict that? Why can a kid survive in a war and a dystopia, but a soldier can't? It's more.
Yeah, there's so many different aspects of how to survive.
It's too to predict. It's like an ant colony. You can put cyanide in, and there's pieces of the ant colony that dies, and the queen still dies.
Dude, I'll make it all the way through, bro. I'll make it.
Are you sure about that?
Yes, I'll find a woman and procreate with all of them.
How do you know they don't have technology or they don't know how to build the technology to procreate with themselves? We have technology now where you can take cells and turn them into zygotes, opposite zygotes. That's what people are theorizing would be for lesbian and gay relationships.
Really?
Yep.
That makes sense, though. And I mean, you see a lot of people do it now, too. They genetically engineer their kid to make them look how they want to.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of weird, but still,
Well,
it's being done.
Right.
Done. You can pay for it to get it done, people.
right now the government's holding, both the United States and China have signed an agreement not to artificially increase their populations. We don't know if that actually includes that's the sexual thing or the sexuality thing with gays and lesbians. So we would basically be saying, is that artificially increasing the population, or would that just be natural procreation? See, it's on blurred lines.
That's like everything, though.
Everything is some blurred line.
Yeah, because
Some things are very clear.
one of the biggest things that people deal with now is the transgender community. How do you? I know you have a strong feeling about transgender parents, or even any LGBTQ parents that transition or actually do this to their kid at a young age.
I actually don't.
Really?
Yeah, I wouldn't be okay with it at a young age.
So again, yeah, don't. Wouldn't you think that at a young age, let's just say 7 years old, you feel different or want to do things differently? Do you feel like that's the appropriate time to start giving your kid hormone blockers or change what their growth pattern should be?
I think we'd have to study it. I don't think there's enough available information on it.
I don't think it's healthy right now.
I don't think it's a good idea to do it all right now. I don't know. I'm not against the trans community, but I don't.
Nobody is. No, we're trying. Let's get that across. Nobody is, because there are certain things about them, about the whole community, that we're trying to figure out that still are just.
Well, I would say with the kids, it's harder because they are younger.
Because it's especially older millennials trying to do it now without research and stuff. That's what's crazy.
I also think it's a very, very small minority. I don't think it's like this huge part of the population, because
I can see that too.
the trans population is less than 1%. And then on top of that, it's less than 1% that's doing that. It's like the people who feed vegan food to their dogs. It's less than 1%.
Okay.
So I think people are making outrage out of nothing.
They glamorize the meat.
Exactly. They're using it as anecdotal evidence to attack people.
See, that makes so much sense too. It's just like, I get when there are those really bad or evil people, but yeah, I get what you're saying. That they can dramatize just one or two of what that is.
And it is very possible there's something very interesting with our gender, sexuality. As we're getting more into science, people are resistant to change generally, so it's hard to see what you're open. I believe that if more fact comes out, you change, and that's the mature way to handle it. But people are generally resistant to it. I mean,
I could see that. I mean, we're all going to morph into one gender anyways, right?
probably.
That's how I see it.
Or it'll be we're unified among all gender. It's hard to say.
Would you? As you've seen, we have sex robots coming out.
That's fine. I might want one. I'm kidding.
Would that be the way to procreate now?
I think it's going to be person to person.
You still think?
I think it's going to depend. Oh, no, I mean as person to person. Say, oh, yeah, you want to procreate, but, you can do it with a robot. But I think that, again, goes against the policies of the U.S.-China.
Okay, see, because that would be a little weird if it was that scenario.
Because that would. So one person creates a new.
Yeah, me and you are just getting a robot pregnant every other.
Well,
couple
also.
months. What's up?
It depends on
getting those robots pregnant.
Okay. Also, it'd be very interesting to say because we don't want exact clones of ourselves. Biology has proven that over and over. You would want diversity, and you need two human beings to do that.
Okay.
So maybe you can get an egg implanted or a sperm cells implanted. But for example, I don't know if it would be as successful as we think right away. Like another thing that's really interesting, we were able to do complete in vitro fertilization of a sheep with just a sperm cell in an egg outside of a womb.
Okay.
So it is possible. Theoretically, that can be transferred to humans. Sheep are very similar in the birth process to humans. They're both deuterostomes like we are, and they're about the same level of fragile as we are.
Kind of like, not the same timing, but they still have the same birthing patterns and all that stuff.
It's mammalian birth.
Okay.
We're not as special as we like to think we are.
Yeah.
We're special in our form of sentience, but we're not special in every form. And we'll probably find lines to that, too.
Well, you see it in a lot of animals, too, because there's mostly a lot of animals do not have sex for pleasure at all.
We don't know that.
No, they do know quite
Do
a
they?
bit of those. Yes, there are a few animals that have been proven that only have sex for pleasure, compared to like us, and compared to other animals where they know they only have sex to procreate.
It's hard to say, though. I mean, unless we could find a way to get a good communication, I could say
The bonobo chimps.
oh yeah, the bonobos we know.
Yeah.
That's but I mean, I can say like
The bonobos we know.
I say that's still hard to say.
Yeah, I guess.
Because think about it. Rabbits can procreate 12 times a year for 10 years in their life. And they can have litters of 10, and that's it could be rewarding to them. See what I mean?
Yeah.
And that could be, it's just their natural cycle, but that's also the pleasure at the end of their cycle. We don't know how that works. So it's hard to say with that. If a lot more have sex for pleasure or...
That'd be crazy to think if we do be able to impregnate robots, that they actually have babies faster than what humans do. That'd be kind of crazy as well, too.
I don't know if we'd want it faster or slower.
Would it? Well, I mean, obviously it'd be this. Well, obviously there's something specific inside the birthing that creates life, whatever. But being able to rapidly do it, wouldn't that be actually something cool? Achievement, maybe?
It would be, but it would also be something that could backfire. So, for example, sorry, did you say to explain?
Yeah.
So, for example, we generally like to slow down development because we age slower with it. We can absorb more information as a child. So that's why you're seeing people are saying kids are looking younger and younger.
That's why
is their development slowing down? And also that the human brain, which we
Baby Yoda.
Well, yeah. Okay, well, the human brain fuses about 24 years old.
Yeah.
So there are older studies that say it was fusing around 18, 19. So at 24 years old, it might be even longer. So it's hard to say, really, 24, 25, that area. It's hard to say if that's going to make you better, stronger, smarter, or make your brain more efficient. I mean, we just figured out recently why we dream, what the actual process of what causes us to dream. So it's like that kind of thing in a study.
Well, why did we find out the process of dreams?
So basically, you have a lot of junk in your brain. Your brain builds up junk. I think it's called amyloid. It's the stuff that causes Alzheimer's, and it connects to your neurons. And so what happens is when you're in low-wave sleep, we couldn't figure out why we dreamed in low wave. We figured out why we couldn't REM because our brains are firing. When we're in low-wave sleep, though, basically CSF, which is your cerebral spinal fluid, comes into your brain and wipes off the dirty stuff in it. Kids do it a lot more.
In their sleep.
In their sleep. And low-wave sleep, we might not remember many of our dreams in low-wave sleep. We usually remember our REM dreams. And that's why it hurts more to be awakened in an REM dream, is because you're losing sleep quickly.
Okay, yeah.
So we figured that out, and that's like, now is that a new way we can treat Alzheimer's? Or do we have to trick our bodies into releasing CSF? What's the problems with releasing excess CSF, if there is any? So kids do it more. As we've aged, is it better to do it more? Kids also get injured less. So adolescence, they believe. So in monkeys, adolescence is like 2 or 3 years, I believe. It's not very long. So adolescence in a kid now, probably start around 10 or so. That might be increasing. And that's probably a good thing rather than a bad thing.
Okay.
And probably the childhoods are increasing. So we might be taking care of young longer. And that might be good for development.
Okay, so in the sense of a joke, like we'd have kindergarten for like 12-year-olds.
I mean, I think it's more of kind of, I guess, but it's more that, yeah, it can be slower, but the thing is you might be able to build more information.
And the brain develop, still would kind of be this, what's going on now,
and it might be stronger.
Yeah.
So, for example,
just
years and years ago, we've known this since early Greek times, or it's the first time it's recorded. We realized the generation below was always smarter than the generation before.
Yeah.
So when we do that and we think that, it's more basically, why are they smarter than the ones before? Well, they get to learn all our niches and skills, even when we're not there. So we're still learning very quickly. You will never learn as fast as you were when you were a kid, ever again.
And I feel I've learned so much from just watching and doing from what my parents did.
And also, well, now you even have a faster comprehension level. See, that's the thing with kids. They don't realize they're comprehending. You can also comprehend faster as an adult. So it's a trade-off, I guess. But we are trying to work on learning like children all the time.
Do you think it's only just by generational gaps, or is it actually by a time span as well? Say if you have brothers that are like 12 years apart from each other.
I mean, that might matter. It's hard to say. It's probably more factors than we can even come up with at the moment, but you probably can start listing things. And
bigger penis.
I don't know about that.
It helps with brain power.
I don't know where you got that.
Thank you.
Oh, God damn it.
No, you'll never. It's okay. It's okay. This is me trying to be funny. Leave me alone.
No, I don't know if it's the...
But I get what you're saying, though. Even over time, us being more youthful looking, living longer. Yeah, just aging slower.
So what does that say to a country that's dropping in age?
They can develop better?
Well, no. Dropping in age is dying sooner.
Oh.
There's a problem.
What? They don't develop at all?
No. They're slowing down.
They don't die?
They're slowing down. No. The country's slowing down in development.
They'll die by tomorrow?
No. So the United States is life is slowing. Basically, our maximum age is going down.
Okay.
So basically, that's a problem. So that tells you where the problem is. There's a problem somewhere in the fundamental chain, while every other country is going up. So it's how you fix it. It's usually raising quality of life.
But I mean, America has the greatest quality of life.
Does it though? It doesn't. If you go to the Human Development Index, I believe it's Denmark. Australia is, I think, number 4. I think it's Sweden, number 2. I cannot call what number 3 is. But that's how that is. Right now, I believe we're currently the most technologically advanced. I think Japan and Sweden are on us, though, at the moment. So there's that.
China.
Well, okay. So here's something I do want to say about China. So there's China, but the experts in China. So China is trying to do automated cars like we are.
Yeah.
Here's what they believe is going to happen. And I think this is actually a very good prediction, even though you can't predict it all the way. They believe the Americans will get the automated car first, but the Chinese will popularize it.
Okay.
So, and this is the thing. The Chinese, and all civilizations in history have done this, they copy to compete. So us trying to destroy China might not be the best idea, but it also might be a thing is that once every country that's ever developed has never de-developed at the highest levels. So
didn't the Soviet Union
the Soviet Union never reached a first world nation.
Oh, okay.
They collapsed.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
So if you've ever reached a developed status where your country is a developed nation, you've never fallen back. And we don't know why that is. I mean, it could be a number of things. It seems that we used to think it was with liberalism. I don't know if that's very true because China's catching up and it's not liberalizing.
Yeah.
But it might also be, and we don't know. It could be happening in the backgrounds. But I don't think that's what it is.
Yeah.
Because it's very unlikely. So China becomes a superpower. We're still going to be a superpower. That's not going to go away that easy. We're just going to be a competing superpower. So that you shouldn't be too afraid of that.
But we've been a competing superpower for a while. With China, right?
No, China's not a superpower.
They're a superpower.
They're not a superpower. All the experts will tell you they're not a superpower.
I forgot what the criteria are for a superpower. Would you refresh our memory on that?
So basically, it's a country that can project influence across the world. It's a country that can easily develop and keep a technological base. It's a country with high human rights standards. China's not that.
Okay.
China can project influence. It has a hard time with human rights, which we do know. And it does have a hard time with a lot of things technologically. For example, China threw on their 5G network. It didn't work.
Yeah.
Their
surveillance program isn't as great as it seems.
And it's also not working all the way. So I think Shanghai's works. And I think, Wuhan's not doing very well right now. So, but yeah, that's the thing, though. It's not as good as you think it is sometimes. And a lot of watchdogs tell you that, but it doesn't mean it can't creep up. And it should mean we should be competing at that level. Us, Europe, Australia, Japan, South Korea, Taiwan's pretty developed. I mean, I was reading something saying Vietnam would probably join developed countries within the next 5 to 10 years.
Okay.
So depending on how they speed up, a developed nation, and this is what's scary, a developed nation usually can fight countries that are stronger than it's, like in population stronger, and they can usually call for help. It's usually human rights is what happens. See, because if your democracy or your demos, as the Greeks would call it, holds you accountable, it's kind of a funny thing that they kind of have to be accountable. We've kind of fallen asleep in the United States for the last 40 years. I think it's changing again, but that's a political realignment. Hegel's dialectic is reactivating.
Okay.
So that's the theory of when you go one side and swing one side, it's a pendulum effect, goes to the other. And he'll keep doing that. That's why sometimes the two-party system works compared to always the multi-party system. I think it should probably be a fusion of both to get stuff done on a level. Government's going to change rapidly, probably a, what do they call them, a technocracy eventually too.
And how would that be run, though?
Well, that's something we can't figure out yet. I know there's things like, oh, we'll just let the robots make the decision. But the problem is...
Damn, because of all the statistics they have built up and like all the info, they could probably make a better decision or more educated, more precise.
Well, you can have someone with all the statistics and make a super educated, super well decision, but you're still going to miss something.
Yeah.
And I think even a robot will too. Because we don't have all the data.
What did you say about the robot?
I think a robot will miss stuff too.
Do you hear this shit?
No. Think about it. Can a robot collect all the data? All of it. Every little bit. Can it comprehend everything about this?
Well, maybe because I feel like even right now in a hard drive of 4 terabytes, I think I have in my brain. And that's only because I can't remember as much as, or I can't recall it as fast or...
Oh, but you can.
I'm pretty sure I do, but it doesn't feel that way.
Your movement like this is a lot of information. Your way you grab stuff. Your sperm cells can carry tons of information.
So all of that is more information that's probably...
It's a better alignment of information. For example, this is like omnipotent level. Can you think of this can in every position possible? It's going to miss something. Because it's an infinite position. You would have to put in positions everywhere. Yeah, you can simulate it hundreds of times, say, with relative confidence, but you can't get everything, even with the best of best, even quantumly. It's the way of thinking is that infinity is usually impossible to reach because there's always more infinity.
It's a little mind-blowing. Blockchain engineer joined in a while ago. Thanks for tuning in, man. He was like, what the hell? China, Soviet Union had a space program. MuseMe TV after dark. And talking shit about robots. Thanks again for joining. Got 4 viewers on the chat. Thank you guys, everybody. You guys that got any questions, any concerns? You guys want us to talk about something? Just let us know. If not, we're going to keep ranting about all kinds of bullshit that's going on right now. How do you feel about the cinematic universe of what's going on with the Marvel movies?
I'm actually kind of disconnected. I'm waiting for Black Widow to come out, but...
You think that... Well, they said that the shows are going to tie in a lot to it, too, but...
And I need to get... I don't have my Disney Plus up.
I just borrow it from a friend too, but I don't know. I feel like it's going to be like so much more work now.
I get it for well, what's the thing though, as time goes on, are we going to become a consumeristic society more than anything?
Well, I feel like I am now way more than I was when I was a kid.
And as you get older, it might be worse.
That might be true, but then...
if you're going to want to watch more TV, you're going to want to relax more.
That's just way of life.
I mean, also, if we get more free time, say we're able to get educated by getting stuff zapped into our minds. You don't ever have to go to school. What are you doing all day?
Yeah, that's another thing we're going to talk about too, the Neuralink.
Yes, there was a Neuralink, and I guess there was one test and they were getting people that can comprehend parts of a language with it. So we need to keep going with that. I don't know how stable it is. Or how I just saw that it was successful.
But do you think it would be beneficial?
Oh, I'm sure most technology is beneficial in some way.
Some people think it'd be too freaky. Like it's just too much expensive power that nobody should have.
Didn't they tell you the TV was taking over? Didn't they tell you the cell phone was taking over? Didn't they tell you the smartphone was taking over? Didn't they tell you 5G was going to give you cancer? It's that same kind of notion. The people are too afraid of the future sometimes.
I get it.
Yes, it's right to be cautious, but it's not the same. We have pastors right now. There's I forget the name of the page. There's a page on Facebook and Instagram, and we have a guy talking to people. This has already been widely debunked. How 5G is controlling people, like sending signals through your mind and through your phone
And it's the devil.
basically.
The devil!
Basically controlling people to do bidding.
That's horrible.
But it's not true, and it's
Yeah.
not...
But that's true of a lot of stuff. There's actually something known as McDojos.
Oh, God.
They're actually like karate gyms where they're actually black belt masters teaching a group of kids how to fight, but yet they have no actual credentials and stuff. So they're teaching these people false, actual, like martial arts. Like that's
snake oil.
Yeah, that's so prized, and that's so like that's something that you like should be learned with discipline and honor and like so much. But then all of a sudden, some dude that says he watched a video knows how to tell 10 students what to do. Doesn't that seem like a little?
I say it's hard to say. I mean, you can learn. I guess it depends on the type of learner you are. I guess it depends on. I don't know. I mean, how do you create new martial arts? You watch the other ones and change it. And you can create it by learning different things. It's hard to say if that's actually the problem there, or if it's. You would have to actually probably put them up against another martial art, but then
That's what the UFC's for, baby.
But there's some martial arts that are good against other martial arts and that are bad against other martial arts.
That's true.
So it's like you're not going to want someone who knows
if you just have
Bagua versus someone who knows judo. Yeah. The judo person's going to win.
Yeah, or Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, exactly, because it's ground game. I would say that's hard to say. Fighting's a weird technique. Magrava, is that the one from Israel?
Krav Maga.
Krav Maga.
Yeah.
I have it letters reversed. They say that's the most efficient fight in the world, yet you have guerrilla war fighters able to fight it hand on hand. So you keep on changing and developing it. It's
true.
Not going to be. I think with fighting, it's a little bit hard. I mean, this is a bad example. Obama once told Mitt Romney, yes, we have less, when talking about, we have a smaller Navy than we did in World War II. And with less certain kinds of boats, but we don't need those boats anymore. That's why we don't have horses and cavaliers and rifles with
muskets and
exactly.
Yeah.
You don't. It's a different fight than it used to be, and it's going to always be changing.
Yeah, see, and that's crazy to think about too, because you saw how everybody was freaking out with the whole World War III coming.
I mean, I didn't expect World War III.
It's not going to come in that sense, but. Did you see all those memes and stuff where like the boys getting ready for World War III and stuff?
I think that's just humor. Humor can either be a step ahead or a step with it, I think.
So I love how some people get so offended by that, though. I was just like, why? It's funny. Like, I'm laughing.
Okay, I maybe my controversial step on humor is that you give power to things. For example, you give power to racial slurs by being offended by them, but you could also see the true history of why people are offended by them. Also, another thing is like sometimes people give power to things that don't matter, like people giving power. Like recently, bruh, people were trying to say it's basically the N-word, or boomer's basically the N-word. Why are you trying to give power to another word to be offensive? What's your point of that? What agendized idea do you have?
Yeah.
So yeah, my whole thought is, I don't know, maybe slowly, as we slowly normalize things, it gives less power, but there's always going to be someone offended. And words with history will never go away. I mean, there's a whole movement now trying to take away the alt-right's using old, I think, Celtic runes, and they're trying to take them back from the alt-right. And then you have obviously the Nazis used the Buddhist cross as a swastika, and there's a whole movement trying to take that back. But is the history going to be easily erased on that? And that's hard to say.
And it shouldn't be, though, right? Because those are all something like mistakes or...
It shouldn't be.
Transitions, stuff that we should learn or have been known to know.
It shouldn't be. I agree. It shouldn't be. Also, like with the Confederate statues, I actually agree you should take them down but put them in a museum. I don't think they need to stand.
Yeah.
They were actually used for as embarrassment monuments, not actual...
not
like monuments to... It was a humiliation.
Yeah.
In the end, though, it probably backfired because of the populace. And that probably didn't help heal the wound. The wound, it should have been a museum. I mean, we have Nazi museums. We have museums on the the Soviets and what they were doing to people with their scorched earth policy.
Right, the Spanish-American Wars.
Everywhere. Wars, every crime you could imagine. There's serial killer museums. I think the information needs to always be accessible, and there are things that are going to stand out more. I generally think things that stand out a lot, like we select a leader, we have to also always realize what leaders have done in history. So, yeah, one time, Hitler, and this, I don't believe Trump's Hitler at all. Hitler overtook the Weimar Republic by the democracy. Every major republic, every major fascist dictator has used the weaknesses of democracy to take over. So when stuff is not plentiful, it's excuses. So say with Donald Trump, and it didn't work with Trump, and I'll explain why that's never going to happen with Trump either. For example, say I want power and the country's not doing so well. It's kind of sick. There's people who are, it's getting harder to live in the country.
Yeah, so you try to finance it, right?
No. What you do is you make a scapegoat. So a good scapegoat is usually a race scapegoat. So it's because they're coming into our country. It's because they're controlling our country. These have been techniques that people have used for thousands and thousands of years. In the 20th or the 21st century, the 20th century, we saw probably the worst outcome ever of it with the Nazi Germany and basically the genocides that happened, the Holocaust. So when you look at it now, yeah, there's a scapegoat. They're scapegoating Muslims, Mexicans, sometimes African Americans, back and forth. That scapegoat isn't really as easy to do anymore because it's happened in history before. So we know not to allow that to happen. So why I say it's not going to happen with Trump is that Germany didn't have a healthy opposition. I think what happens in the United States, again, Hegel's dialect takes a hold. In Germany, Hitler started breaking the law a lot, and their opposition did nothing. Hitler joked that they wouldn't arrest him. Hitler also on the international stage was getting stopped everywhere.
Okay.
So, well, it wasn't getting stopped everywhere, sorry. Like, for example, the UK and France started appeasing everything he did. Well, if you just have the door wide open, are you going to walk if you want it?
Okay.
So, see, at the top, there's less rules than at the bottom. So if you make it to the top of the world, you just go straight through.
You don't have to worry.
You don't have to worry because are they going to hold you as a war criminal? Oh, wait, you have one of the strongest militaries in the world. You're almost a superpower. How are they going to get to you?
Right.
So it's a lot less worrying, and it's more, what's my goal in the end? This is why relative evil is a thing, is that you learned. It's not always that your intentions were evil at the beginning, but you got there. You scapegoated, and well, now you have to deliver on the scapegoat. Now you're held by the pressure of the people you promised, the populace, and now you're in a new problem after new problem. And in politics and at the top, it is pretty hard, to be honest. But it's not impossible. And we've seen better leadership. So Germany, how it became so powerful is there was a leader. It's Bismarck. I'm sure you've heard of him.
Yeah.
Otto von Bismarck. He, as a leader, he was actually a very conservative leader, right? So, but he was a very intelligent leader. So he spoke as a conservative, like, this and this can't happen. We need a balanced budget. But then would turn around and use the legislature to give the people what they want, and then only do so much where it doesn't piss someone off. So it was like a bloody nose policy. So, the people needed food. Let's find a way to get them food. At the same time, but I still want my agenda. So you'll see this politics go on from the early, you see it with kings and queens, but from the late 1800s to probably, and it's probably dying here now, it's slowly, that corrupt politics. You see that with Nixon. Okay. I'll give the people what they want, and they won't hang me. Problem is the opposition came for him.
Oh, shit.
Kennedy's another one like that. He was a very corrupt Democrat, but he was still going to give the people stuff. That's the thing. And he was going to get away with it. Well, that didn't turn out too well. I don't know if that's the reason he died, but
it's speculation.
My speculation is I don't agree with Kennedy was just I think it was a fuck up that killed Kennedy.
It's a fuck up that he might have done, or something he known,
or something like an actual accident. I don't believe it's what they tell us on it. There's still unclassified files 50 years later, which is a problem.
Yeah. So then,
I think it's an embarrassment, actually. They did something stupid, and they don't want to tell us. 50 years later, though, we don't have a chance to heal. Now we can laugh it off because the populace who's witnessed that's pretty much dead.
that's like the Epstein thing, though, right now.
Oh, fucking Epstein.
That's
He's
like,
not dead.
Yeah, but still, though, that's what I'm saying is like, it's one of those mysteries now. We'll never know.
We will never... Well...
I mean, we have a bunch of speculation.
You never know. Someone might come out of the works and whistleblow.
When, though?
We don't know.
It's going to be just like the Kennedy. No one's going to say anything.
I mean, that might be... It's hard to say, though. There's some things that have come out... Look, Edward Snowden came out with a lot of stuff. No one knew when that was going to happen.
Yeah.
It happened.
On Joe Rogan.
No, that just happened normally.
But on Joe Rogan.
Edward Snowden?
Yeah.
He just leaked it.
Did you see the other recent podcast he had?
I didn't.
It's actually really good and did reveal a lot of cool evidence about how the NSA does do a lot of surveillance. And shit.
Well, the thing is, it's kind of like, and this is the thing, how you run a good empire in a way. And I don't know if the U.S. is exactly an empire yet. It definitely does some empirical things.
Yeah.
Or imperial things, not empirical. Imperial things. But... it's just kind of open secrets. Like, we've known for a long time the CIA was overthrowing leaders in different countries.
Yeah, look at now, too. Like, there's certain even Air Force pilots that are coming out and saying they do believe in UFOs.
Well,
they've seen it.
We have to be careful with the alien stuff.
No! But that's other things that are being brought to our attention from actually the government.
And also, you have to remember the government might let them think that so other things don't get out. Right. Like, we knew for a while that, what are they, the stealth? People thought those were UFOs, and they thought those were aliens and stuff. We found out later that the government just let them believe that because they didn't care.
Yeah.
So, there's that, too. There's always layers to everything.
They're lying to us.
I think that's what you're hoping.
They're always lying.
There's some lies that need to happen, unfortunately.
I guess that's true.
If you had a food shortage and you were trying to solve the food shortage before the populace figured out, if the populace figured out you had a food shortage coming up,
they'd freak out.
They'd freak out.
Yeah, so you would try to fix it
before they get to it, and you try to keep that lying. So you see that a lot in banana republics. Most of the developed world is never going to have to worry about food. Even in climate, I think that we probably have some ideas to slow it down. It might change our diets, but I'm sure people will still eat what they need to eat.
Yeah. They'll always find a way to get nutrients the way they need to. Like, even if it's artificial in a certain way, or if it's brought up in a certain way, like, obviously, if you can't eat a certain kind of, like, vegetable or something, they'll find another way to do it.
Yeah, well, I mean, look what we've done to fucking bananas.
All right? Or any kind of fruit, like anything that's twice as big as it used to be back in the day.
Well, you know what we did to bananas, right?
What did we do?
We've caused so many of the species to go extinct.
Of bananas?
Of bananas. So, you know banana candy?
Yeah.
Why it tastes like, it doesn't taste like banana?
Why?
They actually taste like older bananas that they used to have, but it got a banana flu in the, I think, the late 60s, early 70s, and they went extinct. So we had to change the bananas to a different banana.
So the bananas that we used to have are not the same bananas. What the fuck?
It's annoying, isn't it?
Bananas, bro. We don't have... That's so bananas. Anyways, Matthew, we've been here for like an hour. That's fun. We got one more segment on the podcast. You ready to do this? Maybe. This is called Rapid Fire. Do you remember last time?
Yes.
That's what we're going to do again. Rapid Fire. So I have a list of 25 words. I'm going to say these words, each one of them, and I want you to say the first thing that pops into your head, okay? Okay. You remember how this goes, right? Yep. This is Rapid Fire, everybody. Thank you guys for joining. This is MuseMe TV. Rapid Fire. Are you ready?
Yes.
25 words. Here we go. The first thing, okay?
Okay.
Pizza.
Cake.
Island.
Star.
Music.
Freak.
Black.
Light.
Trippy.
Monkey.
Fast.
Slow.
Animal.
Animal.
Space.
Time.
Maze.
Okay. Magic.
Army.
Litigation.
Drugs.
Skeleton.
Air.
Water.
Pendulum.
Hegel.
Native American.
Invasion.
Scar.
Fast.
School.
Burned.
Magic.
Magic.
Computer.
Engineer.
Superhero.
Supervillain.
Comedy.
Central.
Bleach.
Please.
Fame.
Fortune.
Ham water.
Oh, God fucking damn it. Turkey water. I don't fucking know.
And MuseMe.
On hell.
Hell yeah, that was rapid fire. Give it up for Matthew, everybody. Oh yeah, man. Thank you for coming in clutch. Fucking Corey, David didn't want to show up, but we had Matthew on, everybody. Thanks for the love. Blockchain engineer, thank you for tuning in. King Narkalian, I'm pretty sure I'm not saying that correctly. Thank you for tuning in as well. The other 4 viewers that just turned in, I'm sorry, we're out of here. Make sure to subscribe, tune in to all that good stuff. We will be back. I'll be back tomorrow. I'll have some more guests during the day, so tune in. I will see you later. Peace.
Did Michael end up tuning in?